supposes his toes are roses.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Cult Classic Podcast.
You can't do it, can you?
That was like the equivalent of Arrested Development doing chicken noises to me just now. Cameron Jones here, as always, with my co-host,
Mark Nussle.
Jordan Jones.
We are still in the spooky season. We got another slasher coming at you.
We're ramping up towards the end here. I mean, we're getting real spooky.
We're getting near the end here of the season, but we're doing a horror classic. We're doing another slasher classic.
The Campfire Slasher Classic.
True. We're doing the 1980s film, Friday the 13th. In 1957, a young boy named Jason drowns in a lake near Camp Crystal Lake. The next year, 2 counselors are murdered. In 1980, a descendant of the original owners reopens Camp Crystal Lake with some counselors' help. The counselors get killed one by one by a mysterious person. Could it be Jason out for revenge?
They were warned. They were doomed. And on Friday the 13th, nothing can save them.
You're all gonna die!
It's a death curse. I mean, this movie is like a classic protege now for other horror movies. It follows, like, you know, some that came before it, but it did come on to have a huge franchise itself and is a standalone, you know, powerhouse.
It built where Halloween started.
Directed by Sean S. Cunningham. Written by Victor Miller. Starring Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees. Kevin Bacon. And some other people.
Lots and lots of POVs.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
A group of camp counselors are stalked and murdered by an unknown assailant while trying to reopen a summer camp which was the site of a child's drowning and a grisly double murder years before. Lucky 13? I think not.
Friday the 13th.
Alrighty, this movie is directed by Sean S. Cunningham. Surprising to me that I found it, he only did this first one. He didn't go on to do any more of them.
Oh, did they have the same writers for the next few?
So they did, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I knew there was some connection.
And I'll get to him, but Sean Cunningham has a little bit of ins with a little bit of a past. He produced Last House on the Left, Wes Craven,
another horror classic,
and his wife did the costuming for that. So they're
cool.
They're kind of integrated into the horror community from that point. Writer Victor Miller. He did pretty much the whole series, Friday the 13th series.
So he's the one to blame when you're like, this got a little out of...
Admittedly, he says that it wasn't his fault that the second one sucks.
I don't think the second one does suck.
It was critically panned.
I feel like the third and the fifth one suck.
Wait, which one did you go to New York?
The second one and the fourth one are like...
that's like the 8th or something.
Okay.
The second one is where they introduced Jason, and he even said, I thought it was ridiculous to make a full-grown man the boy kind of thing, but, I mean, it made the franchise.
Oh, so that's why, actually, Sean Cunningham... Maybe you're getting confused. Sean S. Cunningham didn't want to do the second one because they were going to introduce Jason, and so he was like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's like, but if we are going to introduce him, this is a conceptual idea I had. He's going to be the size of Frankenstein. He's going to wear a hockey mask, not a little boy. That would have been creepy. Anyway, we're getting
writer Victor Miller also did a bunch of like Friday the 13th shorts that kind of aren't really tied into the franchise.
Called Friday the 12th,
right.
Thursday the 13th.
He also did the 2017 Friday the 13th game, which I've seen a lot on like TikTok.
Oh, I played that. Did I have
it? It seems scary from what I've seen from like Twitch streamers.
You can play either as Jason or a camper, and you're either getting away from him or killing camp counselors. I've actually played it. It's kind of fun. I was playing around.
Killing counselors would be kind of fun. But it seems like the other way around would be scary.
There's a few different ways they have it. They have like one version where like you kill these 10 counselors around the camp before time runs out, and then they have scenarios that are like movie plots where like you have to kill this guy, and there's like 10 different ways you can kill him. And there's like bonus.
It would be fun
levels.
to be like a counselor, like, ooh, sweet, I gotta sneak by and like smoke a little doobie and squeeze some boobies or something, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
You're next then. You can't squeeze boobies or smoke weed because you're next.
That's true. Them's the rules.
Imagine that with like out all those options. You can definitely run and hide.
Victor Miller was also the head writer for All My Children.
Oh, okay.
You know that, Jim.
Yep. Music by...
I truly don't know if All My Children is a sitcom, a like mainstream, like is it?
Couldn't tell you. Music composed by Harry Manfredini. He did a lot of the music for the Friday the 13th series, as well as Swamp Thing.
Oh, nice.
Produced by Steve Miner, who went on to do the second and third one, direct the second and third Friday the 13th. So he
seems
also
like most people connected to it in some way stayed on throughout the
right.
franchise.
They kind of piggybacked off each other. There were some connections in there for sure. And practical effects by Tom Savini.
If I'm not mistaken, Night of the Living Dead isn't
Dawn of the Dead. The original Dawn of the Dead. There's a couple other ones here, actually. I think I have his IMDb pulled up. Yes, the original Dawn of the Dead, Maniac.
Okay.
The second, Ramirez third, George A. Ramirez third dead film, Day of the Dead.
Okay.
And Night of the Living Dead.
Soap opera. It's a soap opera.
Soap opera.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
of a
good.
gun.
Doesn't that feel better? All right.
It does feel better. It
I
does.
thought it was, but
It ran from 1970 to 2011, so, it was a soap opera.
Head writer, so I mean, he did that soap opera and Friday the 13th.
I
Kinda
guarantee the
interesting.
soap opera was scarier, right? Just
more clones.
Full of titties and blood.
titties and blood, camping and whatnot.
All right, let's get down to the cast. We have it says starring Betsy Palmer, but she's only really in the last third of the movie.
I'd say that's more featuring.
Well, yeah, it's more the fact that she was the only person with a name.
I would say
attached to the
featuring
movie.
too. It says starring.
I know, but
she
that's-
plays Mrs. Voorhees, as we know Jason's mom in the later films.
Excuse me. Do we have? Is it Miss or Mrs.? I'd really like to get to the bottom of that.
Mrs. I mean, she
Widowed.
Mr. Yeah, it's got to be. Or just like she killed her husband.
stab. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You weren't watching Jason. Nobody was.
Yeah, she's crazy.
I only know her from the second one.
But it is a little confusing considering she wasn't in the entire movie, and the whole time we don't know who the killer is. But we'll get to that.
Top build. Adrienne King plays Alice, sort of the main. I don't want to spoil anything, but the one that
Well,
lives.
the survivor, yeah. It's hard.
survivor.
I would say there really isn't a main character because we start with Anne, and it kind of jumps around, but we'll get to it.
No.
Also, only know her from part two. The only one who goes
True.
on to part two. Let's just go on to some of the counselors here. There's not a lot of huge parts in this movie. So, Jeannine Taylor plays Marcie. Robbi Morgan plays Annie, the first counselor that we see, the hitchhiker. Kevin Bacon plays Jack, also a counselor.
So obviously the only notable person in it. So let's just all go around and say our favorite Kevin Bacon off the cuff. Stir of Echoes as as a weird one.
Tremors.
Oh yeah, go back and see our Tremors episode.
I'm gonna go with Tremors for his
Footloose
movies,
is obvious.
but I gotta go. The movie I like the most that he's in is Apollo 13. Never seen Footloose. I
Apollo
get it.
13.
You can't.
Good
dance.
call.
Looking here, I didn't realize he was the voice of Balto in Balto.
Oh.
The little dog sled movie. I don't know.
If you didn't explain the what Balto was, the
He's
little
Balto in
dog
Balto.
movie, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally didn't know that was him. Like, oh yeah, the dog movie. I got it.
And a movie I really liked that I forgot he was in is Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Nice little. It feels like a cameo in that one.
Yeah.
Moving on, Harry Crosby plays Bill, also a camp counselor. Recognize the last name?
Related to Bing Crosby.
That's a great little tidbit.
He was trying to get into acting, and they kind of
Cameron, he got intact.
He got into acting, and well, they were trying to do a nod also because there was a lot of Halloween-esque things, and as Jamie Lee Curtis is related to Janet Leigh from Psycho, they thought they could kind of maybe do the same thing with Bing
right,
Crosby
right.
And I would say
Yeah.
he's kind of like the responsible one, right? If we're playing along at home, he gets.
yeah. I mean,
Everybody gets hung up by
He
fucking
lasts
arrows.
a while, if
Yeah.
that's what you mean.
yeah, he's like second to last to die.
Let's move through the counselors here. Lots of nobodies here.
You hear that,
As far
counselors?
as I'm concerned.
You hear that, you dirty losers?
Laurie Bartram, Brenda. Mark Nelson plays Ned. Peter Brower plays Steve, the boss. The truck driver plays crazy old Maurice from
nice.
The Beauty and the Beast. So that's fun. Rex Everhart. Sergeant Tierney, the cop who comes in. This is only kind of fun for me. His name's Ron Carroll. He plays Stormtrooper Mel in the 2005 Producers. The Nazi who comes up is like, "Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party." He has a little cameo in the
Did
Producer.
you recognize him?
No, not at all.
That makes sense.
I went through and just kind of looked who these people were in. Not a lot. Crazy Ralph. He's only in part 2 again, and he's the narrator for part 7.
Oh,
So he comes back and narrates part 7.
That was him.
And that's
Good
about
on
it.
him getting like another fucking kickback.
The first guy and the first girl. This movie is their only credits. Like the first,
Nice.
the first 2 counselors that get killed. Like,
fun fact though,
the 50s?
I don't exactly remember his role.
those two.
yeah, those 2.
The first person that gets stabbed, the guy that's having sex up in the attic, that was actually
Willie Adams.
What?
Just said
Willie
his name.
Adams.
Oh yeah, he's like a production assistant or something on the movie. Also,
did read that, yeah.
So he mostly worked behind the scenes on this film, but they just needed people for the beginning.
That makes
so he
sense.
is credited as the first kill in the Friday the 13th series, but he was actually just production.
Cameron, you mentioned this sort of off air, but you like the fact that it's kind of a lot of nobodies essentially.
Yeah, well,
I think
horror
I think
movie-
it helps.
Any horror movie, I think it really helps if it is just a bunch of just anybody kids that you don't recognize. Anyone attached to it,
It
it's hard.
doesn't get
Sure.
in the way to the characters.
Yeah.
And,
Having a couple of those sort of notable people is fun, but
do like
agreed.
this about horror movies, though. Later on, say this was set 10 years from now, I like to bring back one of those weirdos, those nobodies that went on to nothing, and give them like a bit role, like the "you're all gonna die" or something.
Well, even it's fun. Just like Kevin Bacon came out of this movie. Like I believe this was his first movie, right? Maybe not.
Who's to say?
Well, it was early on at least. So it's always fun looking back and be like, oh, well, he made it.
That does
Let
happen
me check
enough
on that.
in
I
all
can
these
check
horror
on that
movies,
pretty
though.
easily.
All these big ones. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis obviously became a huge star from that movie.
It's his sixth movie. He was in Animal House, which was in '78.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
A TV movie called The Gift, and something in '51, which he would have had to have been like a baby.
Child actor?
Yeah, like-
I don't think he's that much older than our parents.
so he would have had to have been a child.
Guess
If
he's
this is
slightly-
accurate, Search for Tomorrow. No
Interesting.
clue. That's about it for cast and crew, though.
Kevin Bacon came out, and production-wise, like, this is for horror fans, like a familiar crew, but, for a lot of these early horror movies, it's usually a cast of nobody, so, it's hard to say if anyone really moves on for a lot more work, but...
It is surprising, though, out of these, like, out of the big three, Freddy movies, Jason movies, and Michael Myers, there are big stars that get their start in all three of those
Yeah.
movies. Even Leprechaun, so... Somebody hits every once in a while.
That's true, actually.
Like, I
Even
mean,
Leprechaun.
it's odd that somebody.
Slipped the Jennifer Aniston.
Well, I
flick in
mean,
there.
that's like three pretty big fucking stars I just named there.
True,
It's just
true.
dumbass movies.
Let's move it on to Unverified.
Unverified.
Welcome to Unverified and the cult classic movie phone. The date is...
little frog in your throat there.
No, just it's the movie phone voice. It is currently May 1980, and in theaters you could have been watching Fame, The Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one. Humanoids from the Deep, Cloud Dancer, Carney, The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining,
Oh wow.
or the Gong Show movie. But you chose Friday the 13th.
I just gotta throw this out because we don't do this. I don't do this for every movie, but I really do enjoy to see the budgets of these horror movies.
This one was huge, yeah. Well, not the budget, but...
No, I mean it
The
made a shit ton-
turnaround was huge. What was this budget, like $500,000?
Yeah, about like 550,000 made $60 million. Jesus, suck that, The Shining.
That's quite a bit.
I mean, it's
Actors
just
got paid in
absurd.
Trident layers, and then Sean Cunningham turned this movie
Yeah,
around
really.
for $60 million.
I don't exactly have it written down, but he did say that when they wrote the movie,
It was a cash grab.
yeah, it was a cash grab that was just kind of, they specifically were trying to parody Halloween and the movie Meatballs.
So I've heard that, and I see little bits of it, but it doesn't seem so much like a ripoff, though, like you're saying.
No, but they're probably like,
Ripoff
hey,
seems like a harsh term.
but they definitely didn't like think too hard. They didn't think too hard about it.
No,
They're
for
like,
sure.
Hey, what would work in the box office? And we'll give you $500,000. But what's hitting out there right now?
I mean, essentially all the kills are the first kill from Halloween, where it's just POV style. But I mean, it's kind of interesting and creepy like that. I mean, it's gorier than Halloween. I'll give it that.
it is weird that just like a few years later.
Halloween gets gorier a little bit, doesn't it?
The franchise does, but the first one.
No, that's what I mean,
there's almost
franchise.
No, yeah, everything does gets into like gore porn, but the first one
Into
has like
it.
barely any blood.
Late.
I'm not into it as of late, but I know that Rob Zombie is as of a while ago.
This is maybe actually I could be wrong in saying this. What has more movies, Halloween or this? This has 12 sequels.
Jesus.
Ooh, actually,
it's
I think this one might have the most. Yeah.
So this is a lot of
I mean,
sequels.
started as a cash grab and stayed true to its colors. Just kind of off to the money one. This is a fun one. I mean, Scream, I believe. I forget how long was that shoot for the night scene.
It was that was like a 3 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. This film for Friday the 13th was filmed in 28 days.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is how all of this works. If prior to now, I don't know what you invest your money in, but if you had a time machine, just invest in horror movies.
And I know that this was filmed up in New Jersey, and everything was actually just structurally there because it was a camp. The only thing they had to build was the bathroom.
Looked like the Borscht Belt, the Catskills, right?
Yeah, I believe I have it somewhere. It was Camp Nobi Bosco in New Jersey.
Old Camp Nobi Bosco.
It is.
Nobi Bosco.
It is still a camp that exists, and they have a memorabilia wall of fame for all the stuff that's been in the Friday the 13th movies.
Composer Henry Manfredini came up with the now classic vocals attached to the score. It is actually his vocals He used like a delay feature, and all he had to say was and mine, it would just delay his. Yeah. I thought he would have like done it himself. Just in the 80s. I don't know if they had delay shit like that.
Yeah, it does sound like a.
Can I get a little trickle up question from our questions, comments, and animosities?
Yeah.
Did they really speed it up in the later movies? Because it is way slower in this. Not like that, but it's just more prevalent or something. I don't know. What have you? Go on.
I wouldn't say so.
I'm sure it changes a little, but you know.
I think it's definitely more. Not that.
Nah,
it's more like. It's just more in your face.
I'll be honest, you're not great at it.
Jesus. I'll be honest, I wasn't ready for that to come at me. I have no retort. I just feel bad.
Apparently, it's meant to resemble Jason's voice saying "kill, kill, kill, mom, mom, mom."
That's what I was assuming.
Never got that.
I didn't get that either. I just thought it was kind of sort of scary delay thing going on.
I kind of guessed it after I saw that it is just K-I-M-A is how they spelled it. I'm like, oh, so just like kill mom.
Well, sometimes it sounds like it's a chi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always thought it was a ch.
It's a kiki
It
mama.
just might be the distorted version of some little boy drowning.
Victor Miller admitted he was purposely riding the coattails of the success of John Carpenter's Halloween. All right, my bad. Victor
So we
wrote the
all
script.
should do that.
Wrote the script in about 2 weeks, and interesting, Miller never went to summer camp when he was a kid. Not too interesting, but
Well, you don't need it because all it is setting up a summer camp and not even doing that.
It didn't seem very summer camp heavy on facts. In fact, I would say he missed the mark, and there should have been more people working.
This is kind of interesting. So
There's just 5 people. You're not going to run a summer camp with 5 people.
So while most of the crew stayed at hotels during filming, Tom Savini and Tasso Stavrakis, I'm sorry, however you say it. They stayed at the actual campsite. All they had was a VCR, and they had 2 movies. They had Barbarella, 1968, and Marathon Man, 1976.
Random.
And to this day, Savini says he can recite those movies by heart.
Cool.
So I guess he just watched that. Well, it was only 28 days.
they just had to.
Yeah, weren't they probably
Rewind
busy at
and
night?
play,
It seemed like there'd be a
rewind
lot
and
of night shoots, too, and daytime shoots.
Oh, it's pretty split. I mean, it's just one day, really, the whole movie.
Tom Savini performed the arrow shot that narrowly missed Brenda when Ned was shooting at the arrow archery target.
Doesn't seem like that should be a real shot. Seems like that should be a prop arrow.
Brenda, a little closer.
Little closer. Trust me.
Wait, you're telling me that just they really shot an arrow
Now,
at
can
her?
you pop a Granny Smith on top of that head there?
All we
No?
have
Okay,
all we have is
Brenda.
Gala apples. No Granny Smiths.
You don't like Granny Smiths?
They
have their
truly,
place.
I never remember what apple I like, but when I eat an apple,
the
I'm
green
like,
ones.
oh no, I don't like those. No, too
You like a
tart.
Honeycrisp,
Too tart.
don't you? You're a Honeycrisp guy.
Yeah, and I actually whatever's the mix between red and yellow, I like that.
Honeycrisp, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Honeycrisp guy. I think you guys all know that.
Sure.
Sometimes it's crisp, but sometimes you're practically eating a goddamn plum or a fucking pear or something in there. It can just be mushy as hell. That's apple corner for you.
So this one's weird. Lou Reed owned a farm nearby.
Take a walk on the wild side. Do.
That's Lou Reed?
Lou Reed.
Fuck.
There we go. So this is interesting. Lou Reed owned a farm next door. So although there was very little interruption during filming, apparently sometimes Lou Reed would come over and just play for them. And the cast and crew got to know Lou Reed really well.
That's twofold cool. One, it seems like Lou Reed was lonely and time on his hands.
Yeah, I was about to say, it seems like he should have more to do than watch.
Hey,
See,
Lou, you're
I'm
back.
thinking Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed.
who's Jerry Reed?
Who's Jerry Reed?
Also, a guitar player, you should know.
Don't explain it. It's like, sorry.
Amos Moses. Never mind.
Are you talking Jerry Reed?
It was the highest 18th grossing film out of that year, not necessarily in May, but out of the 80s, or out of 1980.
And 1980 had a bunch of good horror movies come out,
The Shining, Dress to Kill, The Fog, and Prom Night all came out that year.
Nice.
which are all horror classics.
Yep.
It really
crazy.
did explode. They're like, we can make a shit ton of money by spending nothing after
Yeah.
Halloween. They're like, let's keep doing that. And they did.
Sure did.
For a full decade.
Okay, so this speaks to why a lot of people hated Friday the 13th too. So the MPAA, who do the rating, told the producers of Friday
Municipal Partners
Association.
Yeah, I'm into that.
They told the producers to scale back the sequel because they already regretted how much gore they let get through on the first one. So a lot of people complained, one, that it's ridiculous that Jason is the killer, but two, that they cut down on a lot of the gore and the kill shots, and that was kind of what people liked in the first one, that they had the special effects coming from George A. Romero. They had good special effects, and they kind of dialed it back.
So this is kind of like that trick question at the beginning of Scream, like, who's the killer in the first Friday the 13th? Well, Jason. They don't mention his name until an hour and 16 minutes into the film. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes. So
Until then, he's just the boy that drowned.
I think Ghostface would have gotten me on that too if I was on the phone and asked me that question.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
for
would have said Jason too.
Just Motion Pictures Association of America. Just
thank you.
Just
Thank
anybody that's
And also when
No
Ghostface
ass.
was like,
Damn.
Jason doesn't appear till the second, I'm like, bullshit, he pops out of the water for like 1 second. And then I'd go out there and stab him a bunch.
true.
That's so good.
Flip
I gotta
it on.
call bullshit. He was not the murderer, although
You got to stick around to the end.
that is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Victor Miller's, the writer, working title for the script was Long Night at Camp Blood.
Friday the 13th is
I gotta
better.
be honest.
Although I do have
Camp
questions
Blood
with that.
would not have been bad.
No, but doesn't it seems like a shittier movie.
I'll be honest.
I
It
hate
sound-
that.
I'll
I'll be honest, I hate it. Hands up, I hate it.
It sounds like a scary movie in a Disney made-for-TV movie that they're watching.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and I'm into that. I'm totally into that. I'll tell you what though. Anytime you guys spit out working title, I'm like, yeah, I like that. That makes sense.
I do see Jordan kind of
Oh my God,
squirm in his
that's
seat
exactly
a
what
little
it
bit.
was.
What
I
about
do like
Man
it.
Gets Child for Big Daddy?
You love that one.
So you'd love like the German working titles in a lot of these movies, or like just the
Oh
translation.
no, like the
yeah.
no, those ones make me feel uncomfortable.
Slaughter Camp.
Yeah, no, I like the ones that are like, what's
Fun
this
Team
movie
Slaughter
about?
Cup.
That's
Okay, yeah, there it
less
is.
funny for the Germans, but
Just going back because I'm not sure if we actually said Willie Adams, the first person that died, production assistant, was his title.
Nice.
producer Steve Miner initially thought it was an idiotic idea to bring back Jason in the sequels. He wasn't your villain. He was just a figment of someone's imagination. Despite this, he went on to direct the next 2 Friday the 13ths, starring as Jason, and it's probably a good idea, I would say.
I mean, the franchise, I do agree it's kind of stupid, but I mean, now it's iconic and you want Jason.
Well, this will get the conversation piece because
Yeah.
I normally like to withhold trying to bring up the other movies, in a franchise and just
sure.
talk. But this one we
Kind
sort of a little have to.
We should
Yeah.
still try to kind of keep it to just
To
this
this
one.
movie.
Because I think down the line we'll try to do maybe
Yeah, we'll
a
do
couple
some-
Yeah,
others.
we'll do one.
The scene with the snake was not in the script, but the idea was from Tom Savini after there was just a snake in his cabin. He's like, oh, that was a scary experience, but I should just throw that in the script. The snake was real, and so was the on-screen death.
Yeah, that definitely looked real.
Damn, really?
Yep, it sure did.
There wasn't anything.
Jesus
They
Christ.
just took a snake out and chopped its head
Yeah,
off.
because the snake kept moving, and I saw the effects of the rest of the movie. They didn't have that in them. Like
Is
I'm
it
like, they
alive?
definitely killed a snake there.
Well, unless it's got a smaller clone.
It is a dumb question. They cut the head off. Although the head can stay alive on snakes for quite some time and still
I
bite.
thought that was worms, inchworms.
The poison, something about they're still poisonous for a long time.
I don't think
Tremors.
Tremors are ever alive.
No, actually, Keeping Up with the Joneses, that John Hamm spy movie.
Yeah, we know. We all flew on a plane. Like,
Yep, at the same
you saw
time.
it?
It must have been Israel or something.
We all saw it on a plane somewhere.
Betsy Palmer, Mrs. Voorhees, said that if it were not for the fact that she was in desperate need of a new car, she would have never accepted the role of Pamela Voorhees.
I believe she first read the script and said,
It was a
quote,
piece-
this is a piece of shit, and threw it away.
That's crazy.
So another
And then
money,
they said, Pam, do you need a new car or not?
another money grab that paid off big time.
Oh, it didn't.
she ended up going to grab a Ford Pinto the next year.
It was used though.
This
Used
has
Ford Pinto.
It was leased as well.
120,000.
studio car. They took it back.
Here's another little Tom Savini practical effect fact. During Kevin Bacon's death, the spewing of the blood is actually like through a tube that Tom Savini's like under the bed, like blowing through a tube.
It was a cool effect. It was the goriest, the bloodiest one. I mean, the head to the axe, but we'll get to that.
Fuck.
And then you had to tone it down in the second one. The MPAA just
All over it.
all over it.
Body count 11, but I'm going to go through in a little bit here, maybe through questions, comments, and we'll talk about that. I don't count 11.
Interesting.
It says including the real snake.
Including the snake?
And I'm still not counting 11 though.
Now are they including
Jason?
Well, let's just move on to questions.
Yeah, let's get off this. So this movie has
So many.
million facts, and we just kind of scratched the surface here. But if there's some like really cool ones that we missed out on, throw them up on the movie posters on social media. Let us know. Get the conversation going. But we're gonna move on to questions.
Comments.
Animosities.
Question: You guys ever been to camp?
No.
Ooh, I had that question too.
Yes, we have. We've all been to 5th grade camp. We all went for a long weekend, but we've never been to summer camp. I've never
What
been
was
to
that?
summer
Camp Anawana? No,
Camp-
that's
Oh, no.
Camp
Anawana.
Juice.
Bug juice.
And there you go. Take
there
a
it
drink.
is.
Could we
Take a
please
drink,
just,
everybody.
Little bitch.
Could we just silence our
Little
phones?
bitch.
Anytime. Just,
Camp
we're recording.
Wapsie, I believe. Camp Wapsie.
We also went to Camp Iwalu. Oh, maybe you
Camp
guys
Iwalu.
But to Cameron's point, it was like through school, and it was like a 2-day, 1-night camp.
Yeah, but
not like real camp. Not like what. I mean, the closest I got to, I watched Bug Juice on Disney Channel.
doesn't come in a jar.
Salute your shorts.
Salute your shorts. Yeah.
Parent trap.
Yeah,
that's Camp Anawana. Did we say that one? Did you say that
Yeah,
one?
we said
I said at the
Wapsie.
start.
Not,
Okay,
we
sure,
got there in the end.
Sure.
Comment: if I ever ask directions for a place and everyone goes silent and turns towards me, I'm not going to that place anymore. Especially if they then call it by like murder this or blood that. That's a definite don't go there. Yes, Mark?
Mark Nussle.
Hand up question. So a kid drowned in 57. We
Right.
know that now to be Jason.
All right.
A couple murders in 58.
2 of them there.
Couple there.
Why didn't she just quick
Some
question?
fires and some bad water in 62, according to the truck driver.
Yeah, but that's no death. But there was some arson.
So we're saying.
So now it takes place during the present, correct? So
True.
let's just say
Yeah.
80.
Yeah.
It's
We'll-
been
we'll
8
just-
years gone since something's happened.
I also
Why
don't
is
think-
the town so concerned that there's something still happening?
Yeah, there's really only 3 deaths.
The fires really set him off.
Fires and the bad water.
Yeah, there should. Here's my question onto that too.
It's not like something's crazy recently happened, like just
Here's what
this year after the fact, like 10 people died.
And the numbers aren't staggering, especially in today's
Not staggering.
horror movies.
I have an answer for you.
Tropes.
Here's how the movie should have started. Miss Voorhees should have killed all the camp counselors quickly instead of just those 2. It should have been a quick slaughter. That way it's something more to fear.
Yeah.
And why would she not kill all of them like she did with everybody else?
Did she literally just blame those 2?
Let me.
You 2 weren't watching.
It might have been
Because it seems like since 58, or
She
whenever
mentions that,
she
like,
it would
first
be the
killed-
next year.
Someone
so.
was having sex, or people were having
Yeah.
sex and not watching her kid, who was supposed to
Yeah,
swim or
that
swimming.
seems a little more to set her off. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess.
Whether it was
all-
them or just the fact that like they were not paying attention to the kids sleeping in their cabins.
We can all agree she really went off in 1980, though.
Oh yeah, she was off her rocker then.
She went off.
Now, just I guess question.
She took a break. Was she the arson? Did she do something to the water?
Did Friday the 13th have? Oh, of course she did.
Just bad wiring. You guys all saw the
Shoddy wiring.
shoddy
well,
wiring
I actually
everywhere
just
and
do
the
have a comment
generator.
on that. In every horror movie, they always know how to cut the power, cut the phone line. I would totally just electrocute myself, but that's, a little getting ahead of myself. But the first thing I would do would just be die outside of that cabin, hitting the main line.
That'd be a great moment to see you dead and be like, hey. And when you get to the killer or Mrs. Voorhees, be like, that wasn't me. That was just that kid's a dumb dipshit. And
he was just trying to wire that building.
I saw the whole thing. You know it's me. I would have hung him up somewhere.
So if you're at the pub, and the truck driver who offers her the ride,
Right.
like who is so concerned, why offer her the ride in the first place? She'd be like,
I think to talk her out of it, just be like, you don't want to go there.
but I'm going to take you there anyways.
But then it ended up, all right, you have fun at summer camp.
Yeah, all right, I'll
You're
take you
gonna
there.
The tone was all over the place. And here's my thing.
Yeah, back and
Drop
forth.
her off at the place.
Well, that seemed clear that they weren't filming together. Obviously, like the 2 shots, like the way the dialogue was playing.
Yeah, it did feel a
Her
little bit.
dialogue was crazy.
It was
Just
a little up and
cheesy as
down,
fuck.
yeah.
Well, hers was like obviously dubbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like hers was, yeah. Did I feel bad when she died? Nah.
No.
She was too chipper.
She had them. It's almost Cabin in the Woods joking of how many warnings she had.
So I'm gonna be honest. I thought I'd seen this movie, but I've never seen the original one until this watching.
Oh, really?
I did not expect
I
her
mean,
to
this
die
is
that quick.
arguably kind of the best one as far as a straight horror movie goes without being just over
Oh,
the top.
this is the best movie, and then it's just you would debate that.
Well, would define on what you define as best, because obviously the ones with Jason are awesome.
This is my
for its own-
catch-up viewing. I had seen it. This is my probably like 3rd viewing, but
Man, I might have seen it when I was younger, but I don't remember. I definitely started.
definitely not
with-
younger, but after high school, like after I was 18.
It's
I didn't
hard-
grow up with this movie.
Weirdly, I started with Jason Goes to New York and some of those later ones,
Manhattan
and the
one?
really
Oh,
campy
no.
ones, and then worked my way back.
That
So-
happens sometimes though when you're a kid, because those probably came out.
Well, yeah,
I actually still have
around
not
that
seen
time.
that one. Just because I've heard
Oh,
it sucks.
it's so bad. It's good, bad though in a way, but that's kind of the fun of it. I've always liked horror movies in general and bad horror movies, so like starting there wasn't terrible for me.
But what surprised me about this one, I thought it was I thought I was gonna hate it not having Jason as the murderer, but I actually think it works better as a movie, not knowing who the killer is.
Oh yeah, right.
It's another whodunit. We're doing another whodunit.
It is a very much a whodunit, and you don't get a protagonist until the last like
Yeah, I don't even think we have a
30 minutes of the
protagonist the
movie.
whole time.
Yeah, there really isn't a main character. It kind of just jumps around until the end when it's just Alice.
So hand up animosity. That's the only thing this movie does not as well as the other Friday the 13th movies.
Have a main
the
character.
Characters. The only character I care about is Pamela Voorhees.
I mean,
the other characters are so small, and you don't get any development.
Oh no, there's
you don't
no
feel
character
sympathy for
development.
anybody.
You don't shoot a movie in 28 days.
Okay.
you kind of think it's Anne or Annie at the beginning. Was it Anne or Annie? I can't remember.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. I just think it's. I don't know.
the one who is the hitchhiker. I thought she was going to be the main
it's
character.
honestly nice.
I thought
like,
it was Steve a little bit. The boss man.
Oh,
boss
I'm
man
so
Steve.
happy. We're gonna. Can I talk about Steve now or?
yeah, I mean, we're talking about him.
I mean,
Chronologically, are we there yet? But
it's bad that everybody got murdered, but it's good they didn't have to live through whatever working there with Steve as your boss was.
Steve.
I'm just saying, there's scars that aren't from arrows and knives and throat cuttings. Steve would have affected people's lives in a negative way.
2 weeks seems like a crazy long time to get ready for camp.
It seems like he already had a weird relation going on with Alice at that point.
Yeah, she was already.
I don't
there.
even know. She was about to go back to California.
Yeah, I just think it's better
can't
if I
take
leave
this
now,
shit.
Steve.
Like, she was talking now. I didn't even know what her job was, her role or anything. Steve, if I were to recast him, that's moving ahead, just any guy I saw in a porn from like 1980 to 1994.
Yeah, that's fine.
I thought it was.
Back
I thought I recognized that guy. Son of a gun.
That guy made me feel more uncomfortable than the Miss Voorhees. Steve was really giving creepy vibes.
Question: Where did he go? I know where he went, but why did he leave?
For supplies, but
Gotta go get a cup of coffee. At the
So he
diner.
left at, let's say, noon, 1 p.m. Came back at after dark, 10 p.m.
it seems very wet, hot American summer where they go to town for like 3 days in a drug bender and then just
Yes.
come back kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it seems like he spent way too much time at the diner for sure. Seems like he wasn't a good camp counselor.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Diddle and the waitress, no?
Oh, they have,
Oh,
they have
yeah.
something going on.
Yeah, they got something. It's called. Well, what would be the drug then? He doesn't seem like a coke guy.
Reefer, grass, I believe is what they were worried
Just
about.
grass. That's it.
Good old-
Just grass.
It's what the cops worried
Old
about.
ditchweed.
That's true. That camp was never going to open, even without the murders, right?
It was off to a pretty slow start with the help.
It seemed like it was mostly ready, though, no? Like, besides the supplies that
I
were
mean-
just 20 minutes away from town.
The buildings were there. I mean, they just had to clean them up to get the power
Turn on the
going a little
waters.
better. Yeah, it seems
Guys,
like we're using the
I
generator a lot.
again, never been to camp. They had a staff of 6.
For 50 kids.
You're not going to run that. You're not going to be able.
Does-
One cook, she
It's
did.
the 80s. We're hitchhiking everywhere. What do we, I mean?
Okay, see, I got to go back to the beginning of the movie.
Okay, okay,
Because
okay.
I don't know if it's
We're
an
getting off on
animosity
tangents.
or like a comment that it's just respect, but like Annie is like like how did she expect to get to the job on time that day? Like if I was going to a job, I'd have a ride. It's like I know times were different, but I don't know, guys.
So when we first saw her, she was 20
It seems like she would have been right on time had she not, like,
Died.
died.
That's true, I
Might have
guess.
actually been like borderline early.
She might have been early.
She might have been like,
Because
where
what did
is
Steve say?
everybody?
She's like, oh, where's the girl who's supposed to be doing the dishes or something in the kitchen?
She got murdered.
She's dead.
murdered.
She's the
She's
first to
dead.
die.
Her death did catch me off guard a little bit. Oh,
Well, yeah, because it's almost a setup where it does seem like she's a bit of the main character, but then.
well, I thought she totally was.
Well, it seems like that each person we jump to is kind of the main character up until they die, because then we kind of focus on somebody.
it's the main character of their segment.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's actually why those
I
two.
love these type of slasher movies, though, because you get, like, little stories. You think it's going to be the two at the beginning, the very beginning.
That's why those two that stayed at the camp watched that movie so many days, because they really only had half a day of shooting their scenes.
True.
And then
Who's
which
your
segment do
favorite?
you like the best? Like which grouping?
Which character, which scene?
Yeah.
The Kevin Bacon one, maybe just because of the death scene, and titties, boobies, you get boobies.
Yeah, I enjoyed where they were coming
boobies,
from the
but
most.
I'm also into
Strip poker?
Strip Monopoly.
Strip
Oh,
Monopoly.
actually, animosity. I'd rather play strip a lot of other games than
I was
Monopoly.
about to say, hold on, you're gonna be really pissed at the banker like halfway through this. Like,
There's still
Strip
gonna-
Monopoly's
There's still
gonna
going to be
be
a
grueling.
Monopoly argument. Like that's not going away.
Someone's gonna flip the board.
I did think of this. There's nothing that would make Monopoly worse before like it's such a
Than being
frustrating
naked.
defeating
Cold
good.
and wet.
And people
naked.
like, sweet, now my penis is out. This is not what I want. I fucking hate this game.
Also, animosity lame that right when everyone's about to get naked, she's like, "Well, I'm done. You can't do that. You play to the end."
Well, also, when's the
Yeah.
first time you realized that you like maybe left your sunroof open during during like rain.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's immediately.
lady, that's done.
She like somehow like the door blows open. She's like, "Oh shit, my window! It's been raining for
Your cabin
hours."
is
Also,
ruined.
it was her cabin. Like, pick another one. They're all
If anything,
water
I'd be like,
damaged.
I would assume like, so we're all staying in here
Yeah,
tonight, right?
animosity. Do they all have their own fucking cabins? Why aren't they all staying together?
Yeah, especially like how. Oh, I guess they probably all
They're
have to
the bunk
cabin
leaders for 10 kids each.
Yeah, that would make sense. I
There's
guess
Say-
5 of
say it
them
again?
and 50 kids.
they have their own cabin for the kids, and then they probably.
Also, each one's in charge of like sort of getting the
Yeah, but that would
make
cabin
sense,
ready.
I
2
guess.
weeks out, you
Yeah,
probably don't need to go to.
No, I'm gonna
First
chill.
night. It's first night.
I'm not staying alone in the cabin first night. Fuck that. I'm
Fuck that.
I'm
I'm
hanging
playing
with everybody.
Strip Twister with all the
Also,
guys and
Definitely
gals.
switching up.
Yeah.
There were a lot of board games there. They had options.
So maybe just Brenda was in the right there. Just call it early. We'll get back to this.
Sorry,
over the next
guys.
couple
I
weeks.
gotta go. You know how it is. No, I thought it was abrupt and she deserved to die for that.
Before the game of Monopoly, though, Bill, super sick at guitar. I mean, amazing classical guitar work.
Really, you got to show that off if you in first
Well,
day
yeah.
camp.
I have 2 comments
That's what you
related
do
to
at
that.
camp.
One, I don't think he got enough respect in the room for what he was doing in front and for everybody with that.
When he
guitar.
played that classical music, he was thinking threesome.
Oh yeah, and he could have maybe gotten it if everyone hadn't died.
But strip
Alice
poker,
was not down. Brenda definitely was.
No. Yes. Sorry.
Thank you. But I do have a question, right?
No, I was saying no. Yeah, no, right. Of course not. But like, yes to you.
As far as guitar playing goes on screen, it looked like he was kind of playing it.
I assume being Bing Crosby's
he was turned
son,
around. What are you talking about?
His hands were moving. It seemed like
all
notes
it
were
takes.
happening.
I'm going to.
I'm saying I've seen more fake guitar playing. Can we vouch for that?
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. I'm
At the
going to
beginning
assume
of this movie.
it's Ben Crosby's son. I think he wanted to play guitar. I think he's like, I got this. We're going to assume he can do it.
Trickle down thing. This is just because, but we're not gonna get back there. When Annie gets thrown out of the car, she lands on her fucking neck. I don't
she
know if
jumps
you
out of the car.
Sorry, when she jumps out of the car,
And she also lands on a big rock, if you noticed.
It's tough.
that's all. Just
No, yeah.
she got up pretty quick. She's resilient, but
Not enough.
not her neck. Her neck seemed resilient. Her throat seemed pretty susceptible.
Stabby.
Well, slit in your throat.
Animosity, that arrow prank with Ned and Marcie could have gone terribly wrong. Like, I'm like flabbergasted that it was an actual shot by like the stunt person and it wasn't just a prop coming through the other end. That's a crazy. I would never be like,
What's
Ned,
that fucker's
you're
name?
being
Tom
so...
Savini? Yeah, he just wanted to do his own shit. Like, he's like, no, let's get her in there a little closer.
Okay, I got this.
I got it. I'd say for $500,000, they shouldn't have done that. No. They just shouldn't have. Yeah, that's like a $20,000 movie.
She lived. No.
The character or the actor?
The actress.
Yeah, then let her ride. Grip it and rip it.
Also, question.
Speaking of grip it,
gripping.
a nice Kevin Bacon meat grip scene.
Oh, at him in the sex scene grabbing boobies?
Oh,
Well, grab an ass. She grabbed her ass.
yeah.
Little
It's-
Kevin Bacon meat grab scene.
Question, actually, I rented the uncut version, so I wasn't sure if I got extra Kevin Bacon ass, but I was like, this must be what they meant.
it's a bad joke, but I bought the circumcised version.
Oh, no.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I just heard uncut and couldn't unhear it.
It's fine.
I don't know what I
on.
had. I just whatever Xfinity gave me.
It's a nice tush. I mean, we can
Kevin
brush
Bacon?
past that if you want.
Yeah, we could have almost recast him in Roadhouse just for that one scene.
True.
It would have held
Oh,
up.
no. I have written down here, clearly the buddy system was implemented after this movie.
You want to stay with the buddy.
After 80.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kevin Bacon, though, at
You
least
gotta
he
stay
was
together.
with somebody, at least, so they separated different
But
rooms.
when you separate,
That's true. That's true.
I guess the question I have with the whole buddy system and going off, it seems like only not Brenda, Alice. It seems like only Alice knew she was in a horror movie, and everybody else was just like,
Kind of.
work's gonna start tomorrow.
Well, for whatever reason, she just was the one that Pamela Voorhees was just like.
I'm gonna dick
All
around
mono-
with her.
all
There's nothing
monologue to
special
you.
about Alice as her character that like made her the main character. That's what kind of frustrates me.
She wasn't the main character until like just at the end.
Just at the end, she was just the one chosen to live.
And I'll tell you what, it was not based off of the charisma of the character.
No.
Shit, no charisma. Well, if she was gonna die, I'd be like, just make it happen.
Question, I was working and I was taking notes, so like, did I miss Ned dying or does he just appear dead in the bed?
He
don't-
just appears
you-
dead in the
yeah.
bed.
Just checking. Okay, also, I'm okay with that. Ned was annoying
There's
as
a
shit.
couple off-screen deaths that happen. Brenda is one. She screams, but Ned is a silent death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you
don't
only
even-
see two deaths.
Bill is
Even
also a
Bill's
silent death.
Bill's off screen too.
Yep.
You
That's
just see the
true, actually.
aftermath.
Huh.
Most of them are off
Steve?
screen.
Oh,
no.
he gets stabbed. We see him just go, but we don't see him.
Oh, yeah, and
We
the light.
really
He's like, "Oh."
only see one on-screen death, and that's Kevin Bacon.
He maybe
The axe,
recognizes
that whole scene too.
Oh, the axe, but that's the way you and I would have shot it in 4th grade.
Yeah.
We see the axe moving up, and then it's in somebody's head. Kevin Bacon's the actual only on-screen death I think we see.
No.
The first guy you see get stabbed. You don't really see. That's the only thing you don't see a lot, though.
I'm going to call even the ones that cut from the axe. Like, that's an on-screen death.
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
I mean, Miss
so
Voorhees,
since
she
we're
gets
here
her
and we're talking about all the
best
best,
death.
should we just talk
Yeah.
about best death?
Yeah, we
Cue
might
the
as well.
music.
Best death.
It's probably Kevin Bacon, just effects-wise, it's the coolest one. It's what we actually see. There is a throat slit, I guess, that's kind of good. I mean, makeup.
Careful, you get one.
I'm just going Kevin.
Yeah. Do you want to list them all again?
I mean, it's Kevin Bacon. It's the coolest one.
I'm going blunt force trauma, axe to the face, Marcie.
Okay.
I'm going to go Kevin Bacon, right? Coolest death, on-screen death. But I actually think that Brenda's
Practical effect. For
Brenda's
sure.
caught me off guard completely as a pretty much first-time viewer.
Brenda.
Who's a hitchhiker?
Annie.
Annie.
Annie's caught me off guard, like right away.
It is a
It
surprise.
totally caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, we're
That's
in
a good one. That is a good one.
I mean, we'll say Miss Voorhees losing her head. You don't often.
Honorable mentions
Get the
is
killer.
Miss Voorhees for sure.
I do have one animosity about all horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
with the super strength of the murderers, but specifically this one.
Right.
Listen, I saw Ms. Voorhees in action chasing Alice. I don't think she could lift anybody up. Now, she was
No.
crazy. She had adrenaline. It was Friday the 13th, dealing with a lot of emotions. We all saw that.
A lot of
Obviously had a
emotions.
little tick, and she was hearing, I believe, her son, or was talking as her son. I don't know. What you guys hear?
Well, I will say.
Yeah,
good-
it was-
I will say
Yes.
she did a pretty good impersonation of the.
What was that I hear? Little tick there?
little tick.
Son.
Anyway, so I just don't think that she could lift anybody up, tie them up, and with the arrows stick them. It really pisses me
The
off.
body
Bill
propping in this is
was
a
the
little-
last straw, but Brenda going through the window.
through the window. Like that would have taken
and then for her
everything
to
she
scurry
got.
away.
Everything got.
Like you would have seen.
Give me everything I got.
You would have seen her like hefting Brenda off of her shoulder into the window. Like she would have come in a bit.
Yeah, she would have come.
You would have heard like grunting through. There's
And
no
then for
way.
her to have a pristine cashmere sweater when she comes up to
The sweater
Alice at the end.
actually is, as far as like horror movie costumes go, pretty underrated. That's a
You think
nice
it should be
knit.
more of a costume used?
Yeah. What did you come as? I'm
A
Mrs.
fucking
Boynton,
library.
obviously.
A
I brought my
librarian.
thick sweater and my casual pants.
Here. Maybe this will help. Kill. Mommy, kill, mommy. I really liked her character. She was off in such a fun way. So I know this comes up sort of in later Jason movies, but it looks like he's burnt in this one and not just drowned.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
later
that pisses me off. I know it comes up, but I'm just taking it as this movie.
they allude,
He
I
looks-
mean, into this one that he's different, but they never say. But
No, I know,
in
but
the
we know
later
that
ones-
going.
burned.
We know that going on later.
He's just a little different.
Well, he's just a little. I mean, I think he's just decomposed. I mean, I don't know exactly
Okay.
what they're going for. I think they were just going for grotesque. I think they had to figure out stuff later.
I was
Okay,
reading
sure.
a fan animosity on Reddit, and they would say at this point that he was probably just like
Skeleton.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're
30
going with
years
the
later?
lore, like he's just a full grown
Oh yeah.
like being in the woods, not just still a boy in the water.
Oh yeah. By this point, because 1 year later he's at.
Yeah, I mean, and then he's like a huge being.
Like, okay, well, I had some questions. So, is there magic involved here? Is that why Friday the 13th matters at all?
Like black
is,
magic?
Is it
I
the
don't
full moon? Is it like there's?
They do mention the full moon and Friday. I don't think so.
There's magic later because I mean, and later Jason Voorhees is getting commanded by his dead mother's head on an altar. So,
I don't
mean, like,
think
So
that this
yes,
movie
evil.
I'm
I think
taking
is the
in-
magic though, black magic. Like,
Okay, so we have some. Well, because like later they have it that she was evil and she's somehow raising Jason, but animosity at the end there. Alice gets Miss Voorhees to the ground at least 3 times, maybe 4.
She
And
deserved to die. Alice deserved to die.
This is
Maybe
a, this is a
unconscious-
whole horror trope though. Like
I mean, I guess you're not really
Double tap.
thinking go to kill, but like, I guess, yeah, it's the 80s. That we haven't had these franchises and rules around so long. But
True.
if anyone attacks me, I think I'm going to go for a kill shot.
Alice, I'm fine with her knocking her out with the pan. That's the biggest one, right? She really gets her down.
Just keep hitting.
Just run though. If you're not gonna double tap or really kill him, get the fuck out of there.
Try to get the Jeep. I'm so furious at the end when she gets in the canoe and just floats
Yeah,
crazily
you've
to the
seen
lake. Like, take the keys out from Miss Voorhees' pocket and get out of there.
I absolutely hate. I'm like, what What is she getting in the canoe for? Where's the paddle? What is she doing?
I don't hate the canoe.
It's
the
Friday
canoe
the
idea.
13th.
There's
She's
some
crazy.
thoughts to it that you're not going to like get snuck up on.
Yeah, well,
But the other thought is you're in a fucking canoe in the middle of a lake and she's just got...
question, why did the cops show up at the end? They didn't call anybody ever, did they?
They're probably, I would assume, no, they didn't. You're right.
No one ever contacts anybody, so they have no reason to come.
I'm sure we missed a moment where somebody...
One cop that left Steve and dropped him off went to go back to town because there was an accident.
Yeah,
so maybe he
his
was
car-
coming back to like...
Well, his car was gone then because Miss Voorhees took it back, so there wouldn't be a reason for him to think that they hadn't...
Could just be
taken care of
1980s
it.
hazing like that motorcycle cop.
Yeah,
did. You
that's
guys got
true.
reefer here?
Let's keep
Oh,
checking on
shit,
that
my day
reefer
just-
incident down at Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah, that's true. It could just be some just good old-fashioned
We'll catch him
police
eventually,
brutality.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Try.
get him eventually. We just got to keep showing up. Oh, goddamn. This
It's a miracle they didn't just blame it on Alice. She's the only survivor. She's crazy out on the lake.
I thought for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I thought that at the very end too.
I
What do we
would-
think about the
If
end?
I was a cop, and I know that this is bad and cops shouldn't do this, I definitely would have, like, gotten a confession out of it. I've been like,
When she's nice and
that takes care of that.
woozy in the hospital bed.
You
yeah.
mean it's the person's head you chopped off right there? I'd be like, all right, Alice, why don't you come with us?
You killed Mrs. Voorhees.
God damn, she was a cook.
You know what
for
happened to her
30
son,
years.
right?
God, she's
He
been through
drowned in
she's
this
been
here
through so
lake.
much.
Maybe burned. I don't know.
He did, yeah.
He burned to death in this lake.
There's no boy in that lake except Jason. Are you talking Jason?
Okay, so
No, we fished him out.
No, he's real fished out.
Yeah, it's like we left him there.
what
we
do
know
we think
happened.
about the dream sequence? Did it happen? Did it not happen? I mean, obviously it happened, but
I think it did. Based off the
I don't know.
rest of the movie.
I don't know how I feel about the double ending where they're like,
I don't
they
like
try
the-
to make you think it's a dream sequence, and then she's at the end like, well, then he's still there. It seemed a little unnecessary to me.
Then again, then it cuts the cop. No, when he drowned, we fished him out, and he had a proper burial.
Granted, they probably
we
at
didn't
this
fish
point
him out because he was a real, like, you know, forgetful boy.
they
Guess
probably
Mom
at this
shut
point
him
didn't know they were going to do like 11 more movies. So.
True. I mean,
It doesn't seem like the 11 following movies, they really gave a shit about this one and what they set up.
true. Well, I mean, after they introduced Jason, it's kind of a different thing.
Jason's not a boy. He's a grown giant man.
Yeah, I mean, then it's essentially just a Michael Myers spin-off.
I would have
killer.
tried. I would assume trying to find the continuity in all these films is probably nearly impossible. Like, there's probably so many mix-ups and prequels, and
It's hard to say they go off on more tangents than the other two big ones being Michael Myers and
that one's hard to follow too.
You know, I would.
But
Michael,
this one does.
Halloween always stays pretty true to just he's pure evil. It gets a little crazy on how unkillable he is, but it's always just the same thing essentially.
And it's as simple as this. He's loose again.
Yeah.
Our bad. He's going to murder a
loose.
lot today
And I
or
will say,
tonight.
even Nightmare on Elm Street is much looser, and it leans into that where it is silly and goofy. Whereas this one started with as like a real kind of like whodunit thriller, like horror, like teen horror. That was, I mean, it was copping out and like kind of stealing from things, admittedly, but it is a standalone, good, just kind of like whodunit. It's well done
this
for
one
the
stands
budget.
alone really well.
This sounds sacrilegious, but I do think out of the three, those big three, the first ones, this one plays a little bit better as a story.
I agree.
Because of the murderer being like having a motive and actually being a real fucking person than the other ones. Although I still like Halloween. better.
Halloween's my favorite.
I
Franchise.
still like it better.
This
but
is
I
now
like
rewatching this. This is so close to second because I love the lore of just like kind of the motive for the mom, and that it is kind of like a spooky campfire story. It is like a ghost story, it just comes to life instead of like you have to believe in supernatural stuff for like a lot
I
of the other
really
ones.
think
that,
her being an actual just crazy person. I mean, she actually is scary at the end.
Let's move it on to recasting. Okay, recasting. This one's kind of a bigger one, and it's always really hard for me when it's no names because I mean, you want people you don't know obviously to be these kids, but it's hard. So
because you like the mystique of these no-name actors coming in, and
that's kind of the fun of it.
I have a Ralph, old Ralph.
Crazy guy.
Yeah, Pete Postlethwaite from the town.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Drunkard, if you will.
I'll give that to you. The Irish guy
Yep,
in
town,
in the town that they take the job from.
Yes.
I'm gonna do Carmen Philby. You're gonna know him from Wedding Singer.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
You're
Love
gonna
it.
know him
great.
as the old
Yeah,
guy.
come on, there we go.
He's the old man in Wedding Singer that has the red jacket. He's the drunk.
He's Blue from Wedding, or not Wedding.
That's you just got to find it like a town drunk. That's all
Yeah.
you got to do.
I'll take the crazy drunk pedestrians from Back to the
God,
Future,
yeah.
the guy on the bench.
Crazy drunk drivers.
Cool.
Do you have a Brenda?
I did Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You would know her probably most recently from Birds of Prey, but I mean 10 Cloverfield Lane. Go back and see our episode also of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, she's in that. Mm-hmm. Which one's Brenda in the movie?
She is
Gets thrown through the window.
Gets thrown through the window, plays strip poker.
I'm gonna go.
You son
I'm gonna
of a
go
gun.
Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell.
Sure.
Throw it through a window.
Stockard Channing. She's Rizzo from Grease.
Oh, okay.
Rizzo.
Interesting.
Bill, Mr. Crosby's son.
For Bill, I did Joe Carey. Joe Carey. He's Steve from Stranger Things.
Now that I know this, I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah. Love that. That's actually awesome.
He belongs in a scary movie, and I know he's kind of like been around. I mean, what was he most? I mean, I know Stranger Things, is a
Especially with
scary
that
movie.
haircut, he'd play Bill perfectly. Like that's a great cast.
I just want to say Bill was taking the job way too seriously, way too early. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well.
So I wasn't mad when he died either.
I did Mark Gruner from Jaws 2, the main
character from
kid,
Jaws
the
2.
main like son,
Kid on the
older
boat.
son.
Yeah, okay.
This was Bing Crosby's kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Frank Sinatra Jr. Obviously.
I was thinking of maybe going
Yeah,
that route.
I actually kind of want to do something like that. That's a great pull.
Dean Martin Jr. Whoever the fuck, Sammy Davis Jr.
Well, you got
the third, whoever it is.
Son of a gun. Steve, the boss man who leaves.
So this, I don't have the actors' names, but I'm gonna do Paul from Jesus Christ Superstar.
Okay.
Could we start again, please? You know that guy.
He doesn't have a singing role. I need you to know that.
We would have to incorporate a song.
Sure,
it looks like there was a little wiggle room.
Maybe there's like a camp musical that he's already planning for.
Or just even at the diner, just a little JC.
Yeah, he's
Jesus
just
Christ
doing
Superstar.
some karaoke.
Yeah.
I'm doing a specific casting. I'm doing David Hyde Pierce from Wet Hot
Okay.
American Summer. When I said no thank you, when he's just like the nerdy guy helping out with the science kids.
I'll be honest, I looked through the cast of Wet Hot American a couple times to try to find somebody. I couldn't find anybody that just made sense. That's amazing.
I was
love
thinking
that.
about that whole cast, but I'm like, they're just gonna roast me if I just say a lot of people.
This might be too heartthrobby, but I did Robert Redford.
Oh, for Steve.
Imagine him with the scarf around his neck, shirtless.
Yeah, it's a way better look than the guy that played Steve for sure.
Sure. Annie, Hitchhiker Annie.
I did something kind of similar. Just these two came at the end. I did Natalia Dyer, Natalia Dyer. She plays the sister from Stranger Things that was first dating Steve in season 1.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm going to give you a point off because you went through. I tried to at least
if you
do.
would've
I have a
given me
Jaws and a Jaws 2.
If you would have given me 6 degrees of
Season
separation
2?
here.
You mean say season 2 and I'll give you.
I like her better in season 2.
Sweet.
There we go.
I love that cast.
I really like season 3.
Are they coming out
I
with that
went
again?
Gina Davis Beetlejuice. Give her just a little shine there.
Okay.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Little Gina Davis.
Go back and see our episode of.
Nope, we didn't do
No,
Beetlejuice.
we don't
No,
have
but
her or
we
anything.
did.
Oh, League of Their Own.
For the
League of
love of
Their
the
Own.
Oh, damn it.
I'm gonna go Amy Adams because she's always annoyed me, and Brenda annoyed, or who is it?
Jesus. I mean, what
Run
are we
Annie.
doing here?
Annie annoyed me too. She's a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Get her out of there.
Ned, the town goof, or the counselor goof. Let's do Ned.
Sean Astin.
I don't mind that.
It's like a
I actually don't
teenage
mind.
Sean Astin.
Just I'll
John
just pass.
Belushi. Just to give me a goof. Kill him off on screen. Jack, I did Matt Dillon from The Outsiders or Emilio Estevez from The Outsiders. One of those guys from The Outsiders.
Interesting, because I took Rob Lowe from The Outside.
Nice, love that.
And I was looking at the same cast, and I thought about both of them.
I actually was about to write Rob Lowe
I was
down
going to
there
maybe
too.
say Tom Cruise and just
I was
say like
gonna do Rob Macchio.
Okay.
Why not?
like them all.
I would put Ralph Macchio as Billy or Ned because he seems like a weakling. Marcie, I did Samara Weaving. She's the blonde.
Sigourney Weaver?
Nope. Samara Weaving. She's
Interesting.
blonde. She is in. She's one of the daughters in Bill and Ted Face the Music. She's the blonde one. She's also in The Babysitter. She's been in a ton of horror movies in the past 2 years.
Okay. I've never seen the new Bill and Ted.
What about 1970s, 80s heartthrob Bo Derek?
Oh yeah, that's a better fit
that'd
than
be
mine.
way better, yeah.
Yeah. I just have to show you guys a picture of her because you guys know who she is.
We have Alice and Mrs. Voorhees left. I don't like my Alice, but I had Shelley Long.
Alice, you're not gonna like
Shelley
this.
Long. Here's why that one would have been good because she would have been annoying too, like real annoying. No, my apologies.
I still would have questioned why she was living at the end of the movie.
How is she still alive? She's done nothing but cowered and whimpered. And...
Alice, I'm kind of doing this because The Dead Don't Die has come up a bunch recently, and I did Selena Gomez
Oh, nice.
because I do think she does play kind of the innocent character in that, and she'd be doing it in this too.
I did her recently in something, but I forget. As the
And
innocent.
then Mrs. Voorhees, I feel like I have a good one.
I think I have what we're all expecting, and I did Carla Gugino.
Oh,
Son
really?
of a gun, you did not.
Did you?
Really do her?
No, I did not.
Doesn't it seem like this is actually a pretty good one for her, though?
I'm just. You really took the character in a different direction.
Yeah, she's attractive,
Very attractive.
younger, a lot
Much
younger.
Yeah. She might be the same age.
Kathy
I think
Bates.
right now she's
Crazy old.
Oh, funny enough,
Kathy
I was
Bates.
going to say Kathy Bates was
That
kind of my
would've been
backup.
Fun, actually.
Interesting, because I was watching someone about Misery the other day.
I did Alice from the Brady Bunch, their maid.
Nice. I don't hate
just
that at
thought
all.
that was it
Or
the
any
whole
of the
time.
Golden Girls. B. Arthur. I don't know.
Okay.
It would have been so awesome. to see
Angela
Arthur in
Lansbury. I
that.
know she's not a Golden Girl, but
Ooh, that would have been fun.
That's a fun one, too. I like the
Guess
You're
what?
picking great voices, Mark.
I wrote it. The murder she wrote. Right? Thank you.
Frances B. Bay.
Teen movies are hard, especially when they're no names. But let us know if you liked any of those or you have some good ones in there, too. But we're going to move on to Mount Rushmore.
Top 4.
Top 4.
Mount Rushmore. Top 4.
Mount Rushmore, top 4. This week we're doing our top 4 of our favorite, just big franchise movie killers. Obviously, there's not like a ton to go off of, so it should be a pretty good list. This week, Mark won rock, paper, scissors. He gets to go first.
This is going to be a nice, tight list. All right, I'm doing Michael Myers.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I get that.
Number 1, Michael Myers.
Yeah, you can't argue it, right?
Hard to argue it.
I just.
Now 2 and 3, we start getting a little.
I'm gonna throw a
dicey here.
I'm gonna throw something crazy out there. I'm actually gonna throw in Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I don't hate that.
That one
I don't
is-
hate that.
That movie, I don't know if he's scarier than anything, but that movie makes me feel so uncomfortable. It's so gross.
Exactly.
Talk about continuity errors in that whole franchise. That movie is those movies are wildly just inconsistent with the story.
It's not maybe one of the bigger franchises we're thinking, but like as far as like creepy factor on his actual character of just wearing skin of people, being very Ed Geinish and just I don't know.
Very scary family.
Yeah,
I will-
this-
The
Dirty,
family's scarier
dirty.
than he is.
yeah, because he's like they boss him around. He's kind of like the
Yeah, he's just a simpleton that doesn't
yeah.
kill him.
He's like Lenny from of Mice and
Yeah,
Men or Boo
essentially.
Radley, just with the
hand
weirder
up.
family.
No one's gonna agree with me. I love the Rob Zombie remakes of those. Those are creepy to me.
I actually
no one's gonna agree with that, and I don't
the
care.
Halloween ones.
He did Halloween. I'm not
Wait,
sure. I don't know.
Who did the remake of the new?
I don't know who
Texas
did the
Chainsaw.
Friday the 13th or who did Texas
Let me
Chainsaw
look.
off the top
Sorry.
of my head.
So I actually think
Forget it.
I think I am gonna throw you for a loop because it's not as as big as those guys, but
Okay.
it's literally the scariest movie I watched when I was a kid, and it's Pennywise from It. I fucking hated Tim Curry's version in
What
a
a pick.
big way.
I'm gonna count
What
that.
It
a
scared me
pick.
so
I'm gonna
much.
count that because it is a miniseries, and it also has the
Well,
movie.
and they
so-
remade it to the movie.
That's true. It doesn't have like a franchise, but it does at least have a remake. I'll
I'm
give you
telling you that
The Jessica Biel
Yeah, those ones are
Texas
good.
Chainsaw was directed by Marcus Nispel, not Rob Zombie. That's my bad.
that. Who did the remake of Friday the 13th? Out of curiosity, I feel like that had someone attached to it.
2009?
Yeah, it wasn't like anybody from original,
Sure.
but I think it had like a horror director.
Sure. Let's see.
Pennywise scared me. big
Marcus
time.
Nispel. Funny enough.
okay, there
so
you
he
go.
did,
So they
he
got
did
him
sort
back
of
in
those
it.
remakes. I love those remakes, just with the newer actors, newer look.
I think they're pretty good.
I know a lot of people hate it.
Pennywise. That's a great pick.
That's a
I
good
love that
pick.
pick.
Thank you.
I mean, I will say I know a lot of people were angry about the faster moving Jason and just them kind of changing and modernizing some of these. But I mean, I'm okay with kind of switches here and there as long as you're keeping if it's canon and it's within the same universe, keep shit the same. If you're doing a bit of a reimagining, I can stomach that sometimes.
I do want to say though that Jason for this movies, out of all the horror movies I remember, and I'm not a huge buff, he has some pretty funny kills.
Yeah.
Even more. Like his get pretty fun.
Well,
Even more so than
I haven't
Michael
seen the
Myers.
Manhattan one. That's campy as fuck. No.
Yeah, like like
I mean, it has to be.
Like those kills get pretty fun. I mean, it's pretty much that, and like Nightmare on Elm Street was kind of the same thing. I mean, that's a very playful movie, but which I guess gets us now to our honorable mentions, and that's obviously a big one to throw out there.
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger. That has a million
He's
movies
much
too.
more comical than these two.
Oh, yeah,
He has a
the-
lot more he's all personality. I don't even know if he kills anybody.
Which is kind of why I was
Just
gonna
really-
I do like watching the Friday the 13th Jason kind of kills more because I mean it's just your more straightforward horror movie tropes.
I do have a favorite Jason Voorhees kill.
What's that?
It's in the second or the third one. He walks up to people camping and he takes somebody in a
bag?
sleeping bag, just bashes the shit
I
out
think
of
that's
them.
the second one.
Oh, that's my favorite kill that I remember. I gotta throw a shout out to Norman Bates, right? He kind of like precursed the whole genre.
Is that Bates Motel?
True. Again, you're getting less
Psycho.
You're getting less franchise though. These
Psycho.
are one-off. These are one-off killers. I will say that.
It was a 2-part mini.
So what? I
series.
can't pick the shark from Jaws.
No, because that has many movies.
Oh, got it.
That has a
You
franchise.
son of a bitch. Leprechaun.
Yeah, you just.
Yeah, we can say Leprechaun for sure. Scream. I mean, obviously Ghostface. That has at
Ghostface
least 4
killer.
movies. Or
You
did
know
it go
what
into
seemed scary as a kid? I'm like, this is gonna be terrifying. Chucky, and it's not. He's just a little
Child's
rascal.
Play. That's
Oh, you know
gotta
what?
be. That almost should have maybe snuck above Leatherface.
Chi-
Or I mean,
For scare factor, I don't know. I was trying to throw something fun out there. Honestly, I probably would have said Jason for my number 2 pick. But just trying to
for
keep
me,
it fun.
Leatherface is above Chucky, but I think for a lot of people, they would have had Chucky. Maybe
Chucky's
even
a
one
fun
or
one.
two.
Chucky was a big one.
Because that's another one that has personality. It's kind of a funny horror again, and that's why it has a huge fan base.
He seems the least probable to get killed by, but he just keeps
Jonesy
fucking
boys, you're
killing
gonna hate this, but Jigsaw.
No, that is honestly
I
a huge
respect that.
franchise. I respect the call, but I don't like the movies that much.
I haven't seen so many of them. I've seen like the first 2.
That's gore porn. Those aren't
True.
Yeah,
they're not
those
scary.
ones
They're just
are.
like, what the fuck?
I don't
That's
know
true.
if there's past 2, but Hostel, that doesn't really have a main scary killer.
Isn't that kind of the same realm as
Very-
like Human Centipede type shit?
Just that one is like
I don't like gross. Just gross.
Hostel is the definition of gore porn. That one is all just like gruesome
Yeah.
I don't like
tortures. I mean, slow. Hellraiser, that's a big franchise from
Pin-
the
is that Pinhead?
I don't
from the 80s.
think I've seen that.
Those ones are actually another one that
We should maybe do Hellraiser next year.
Those ones are kind of fun
do it right
because
away.
they were very special effects gore based, and that's why they have such a cult following.
It's definitely such an iconic like figure that
Yeah, yeah.
like you can.
I'm not a big Hellraiser fan, but the effects are good. I mean, the Evil Dead, we kind of have just like the Deadites in general as the enemies.
I thought about
that,
that, but like I thought about the zombies, but it's like there's not one singular one.
That's why I just said the Deadites, the demons. Speaking of which, though, I have been watching Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I'm on to season 3. I like it. It won me over.
Are they still making current ones?
I think so. Thanks for listening to our take on Friday the 13th. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We are just a small grassroots podcast, so the only way we can grow is through your kind recommendations. So please, friends, family, anyone you think might be into our little movie club, let them know. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can hit us up on Cult Classics Pod on social media. Just look under the movie posters. And if you want to make a movie request, you can write us at cultclassicspodcast@gmail.com. We'll check you next time.